Hello and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in once again. Hit the subscribe button if you're new and turn on your post notifications so you get to know every single time I post new videos. Today we are going to be learning how to draft a corset pattern, and I've wrote out my basic bodice measurement, and this is my shoulder line right here. From here to here is my armhole, so this is my bust line. This part here, this line here is my bust point line, and right here is my under bust line, and here is my waist line. So guys, this is just the pattern I'm going to be needing for my corset, and I'm going to be adding one more line to it, and that is going to be my chest line. It's just about 2 inches above my bust line. I'm measuring 7 inches for my shoulder, so I'm going to be marking that out. This is just going to serve as a guide. I'm not going to be needing this line actually, but this is my chest line, so I've labeled it my chest line. So now I'm going to be taking my bust circumference, which is 9 inches. 36 divided by 4, so that's 9 inches. I'm going to mark that out here and create like a curve, like an armhole curve, and connect it like so. So guys, once I've done that, I'm going to go over to my bust point line and mark out my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 3.5 inches. My nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 is 3.5. So I'm going to mark it all the way from my bust point line to my under bust to my waistline, and also my bust line and chest line. So I'm now going to connect all points to a straight line. So guys, once this is done, I'm going to be measuring what I have from here to here, from my bust point line to my under bust line, and as you can see, I have 3.5 inches here. So I'm going to be marking that 3.5 inches all the way round like so. So once I've gotten a circle, which is just serving as a guide, I'm not going to be needing this circle, it's just serving as a guide. So I'm going to go over to my under bust line and mark 1 inch on the right and 1 inch on the left. So I also went down to my waistline and did the same thing. So I'm now going to connect the points together. Once I've done that, I'm going to connect that point from my bust point line all the way to my under bust line with a curve. So I'm using my pattern master to do this. Now I'm going to go over to the upper part and take my darts for this part. So now, to start with, I'm going to mark half inch towards the center front and 1.5 inches towards the armhole area. So we are doing this because it gives more fitting when you measure it this way. So I took out half inch towards the center front and 1.5 inches towards the armhole area. So I'm going to connect it like so, connecting it all the way from the chest line to the bust point line. Alright guys, so now I'm going to measure what I have here and measure what I have here. So this part is a bit shorter by half, by about half of an inch, so I just added the half inch back, so I'm not going to be short of fabric when I'm joining it together. So guys, that's what I just did here now. Alright, so I'm going to go over to my bust line right here and mark half inch in, and also go to my bust point line and also mark half inch in. So marking half inch here and half inch here. So I'm going to connect the points together like so. Alright guys, so I'm now going to be joining this together. If you wish, you can join it directly like that, or you can join it to this point. So for me, I'm going down by half an inch. So now I'm going to connect it together with my curve ruler. I'm connecting it to this point right here. So once that is done, I'm going to connect I'm going to also connect the lower part. I'm connecting it to the bust, to my under bust line. So I'm connecting from my under bust to my bust point line. So this is it. Now I'm going to go over to the other part. Before I do that, I'm just trying to create more curve at this point here. Right, so now I'm going to go over to this point because our boobs is bigger at the armpit side, towards the armpit side. So I just label this part center front, so won't get confused. So now from this part, I'm going to mark half inch from that armhole line. So I marked half inch, then I'm going to come up by quarter of an inch. I'm coming up by quarter of an inch, then I'm going to rule it all the way to the bust point line. So this is just to create more room for the breast to stay when our work is done, guys. So I'm connecting it all the way to the under bust line. So I'm going to connect it from here, from this point right here, to my under bust. Alright guys, so now from here I'm connecting to this point here. So once that is done, I'm going to connect it down to this point I marked earlier. So now I'm going to be taking my bust circumference now, and I'm measuring what I have at this point. I'm going to measure what I have at this point so that I can add it to my bust circumference. So I have about half of an inch, about 0.75 of an inch. So I'm going to add it back to my 9 inches. So that's 0.75 right here. I'm marking it out. I'm adding it back to my bust circumference. So I'm going to go over to my under bust line and mark my waistline and mark my waist measurement, which is 8 inches. Then this 2 inches, I'm going to add it back, that 2 inches. So I'm going to connect the lines together now. You can go ahead and cut out your pattern or do it this way after numbering the panels. So I'm going to go to this point here and measure and mark out 1.5 inches. So I'm marking it out. I'm going to mark it out all the way. So once I've marked it out here, when I get to this point, this point right here, I'm going to just place my tape pro like this and mark my 1.5 inches. So from this point here, this very point, I'm going to measure 1.5. I'm marking 1.5 down here. So I'm now going to use my curve ruler to slightly curve the points. I want you to join the points with a slight curve. So from this point to I'm measuring 1.5 inches. I'm going to mark it out here. So I'm going to mark it all the way. So from this point right here, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches here. So I'm connecting it like so. Alright guys, so I'm going to extend these lines for my back pattern. So now guys, you can go ahead and cut out your pattern. Alright guys, so now I'm going to cut this upper part out, but before I do that, I'm labeling it so you don't get confused when you are cutting your fabric, when you're cutting it out on your fabric. So this here is my center front, That's for the front, and this is for the side towards the armpit area. So all around we are going to be adding half an inch, except this part that I'm labeling S. So this is side, this is center front. So for the center front, it will be cut on fold, and the sides will we will add 1 inch to it. So now this is my zip allowance. This is the back pattern, and that's my zip allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and take out my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 3.5 inches. Before I do that, I'm labeling it. That's my bust line, this is my bust point line, this is my under bust, and this is my waist line. So I'm going to mark 3.5 inches here, mark it here also, and mark it here. So I'm going to connect the points together now with my ruler. Alright guys, so the next thing we are going to be doing now is to go over to my waistline and take 0.75 of an inch on both sides. There was actually a mistake here. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm going to go over to my waistline and take 0.75 of an inch. So you're not taking it from your under bust point, it's from your waistline. So from your waistline, take 0.75 on both sides. Then at this point here, I marked 1/4 of an inch in all. So I divided 1/4 of an inch into 2 and marked it on both sides. So I'm marking the 0.75 on both sides here. Now I'm going to connect it all the way from this point to this particular point here. I'm connecting it on a straight line. So this is the dart for my back pattern. I'm not going to be needing this line. Alright, so now I'm going to mark out my bust circumference now. Marking out my bust circumference, and I'm going to mark it from here. So my bust circumference is 9. My bust circumference divided by 4 is 9 inches. So I'm going to add 1/4 of an inch to it. I'm extending my line. So I'm going to go over to my waistline and divide my waist circumference by 4. I have 8 inches. So I'm going to mark it out here and add back my 1.5 inches to it. Alright, now I'm going to go over to my bust line and make a curve at this from the zipper allowance part to my armhole part. So I'm going to make that curve by going down by 1 inch from the bust line. I'm going to mark 1 inch below my bust line to create that curve. So this part labeled S is my side seam, so I'm going to mark out 1 inch below my bust line. So I'm now going to connect it with a curve right from my armhole to my zipper allowance. So now definitely this part is shorter, so I'm going to add 1/4 of an inch to it. Then I'm going to connect it all the way to this part again. Alright, so now you can go ahead and cut out your pattern. Now I'm going to be joining these two pieces together like so. Now do not attempt to place them side by side, to place them on each other, just like place them side by side. That's why I'm using a tape to do this. So I just carefully place them side by side and join them together. So this is going to be one piece. When you are cutting into your fabric, it will come out as just one piece. Alright, so now guys, this is the front pattern and back pattern of our corset. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to subscribe and hit the like button.